You know,
Civil
you've had
thing.
several questions asked of you, and you're not like.
What are those questions? Look, here are some Wi-Fi towers.
Right, I'll ask a question. Can you hear me, Chemo?
Chemo, why did
Fuck me.
the electric car lose out to the internal combustion engine 100 years ago?
Breaking news on the flat Earth and
Shut up! Shut up!
they've found nicocadmium, gold, silver, and nicochromium, which is a thing.
You're plastered,
Shut
Joseph,
up.
way too plastered for a serious discussion on ancient history. And also, we're going to look at some ancient flat earthers. Jem would have you believe that only Robotham was the only prominent flat earther back in the day.
That's not true.
Chemo,
Well, that's
asked a
how I
very simple
understand it. That
question.
you're like, well, wasn't any flat earthers back in those days, and the only prominent one was Robotham. But there were plenty.
That isn't what I've said.
What do you say?
What I do is I refute the claim that you guys make that before 1930 everyone was a flat earther.
Yes, they were.
That's not true, because if that was true, people like Robotham would not be famous for being flat earthers.
Negative.
That's my argument.
Negative.
Is
Not
my mic
any of the
better
stuff
now?
that you said.
So
Yes.
let's take a look at
It was
some.
fine before, Chris. People just ignored you. I don't know.
I know, mate. I know.
Okay, so do
Chemo,
you
I just
know
wanted to ask this real
David
quick.
Woodlow Scott? He says.
Pause.
What David Woodlow Scott says is, I cannot imagine how any human being in his proper senses can believe that the sun is stationary when with his own eyes he can see it revolving around the heavens, nor can he
Chemo, I
believe
want
that
to
the
address
earth
this picture
at which
first.
he stands
Can
on
we
is
address
whirling
this?
around the speed
Chemo,
of lightning around the
Can you hear
sun
me?
when he feels not the slightest motion. Now that's
Oh my
from
God.
David Woodlow Scott.
Yeah.
Let's
yeah.
take a look
No,
at him here.
I mean, these flat earth. I'm not denying these flat earthers existed. Like I say, my claim is that the flat earth claim that everyone was a flat earther up until around about the turn of the century, 1930, is completely false.
There's one. And
Anyway, Chris has a question for you. Please
okay,
answer it.
Okay.
I was just writing in the text this. I give up. Right, Chemo. See that picture you posted of the so-called electric scooters?
Mm-hmm.
How do you know they were electric? Because that looks like a two-stroke in the back of that one at the top left.
Oh yeah, it looks like that. But the electric,
Right, but how do you know it was electric?
because that's a hidden history, Chris. Revealed today.
Not answering the question, Chemo.
Not an
How-
answer, is it?
What's
telling
going
you?
on?
How do you know? How do you know? What tells you that it's electric?
I mean, we can see it. We can see it.
What's electric that you're seeing?
I mean, engines. But what year was that? The 1920s. I mean, I don't think engines were. I mean, Ford came around 19. Ford had
come on,
the
man.
motor
Fuck
cars.
off. The thing is,
We
we
need to
know
get
there are...
Charlie in here. Charlie can see the electricity.
Yeah, we know there are electric vehicles. The Baker Electric is quite a famous one, right? But I think the problem that is overlooked with these vehicles is the claims of what they could of their capabilities are usually taken from advertising materials from those companies. So they're probably likely to be maybe not exaggerated, but let's say optimized. But the thing is that people forget about is they all ran on lead acid batteries, didn't they? That take fucking ages to charge up.
Maybe.
And that's why they didn't really take off. It's only now that we've got, modern battery technology that these things become a reality. And even now, if you've got an electric vehicle and you want to charge it up, you're still looking at 15 minutes, which compared with sort of 2 minutes in a petrol station is significant, isn't it? And back then, you're talking, you drive 200 miles, well, you've got to leave the thing, I don't know, overnight at least, I would have thought.
The point is that they were there, the concept was there, and things would have been improved upon and obviously built upon. But anyway,
Unless they found an easier, better technology that met the needs of the day.
that's the first guy that we brought up. Mr. Scott there. David. Is that his name, David? David Wardlow.
But we never stopped having electric vehicles, did we? I mean, when I was a kid, the milk float was electric.
No, I know, yeah, I'm just
There were
saying.
always electric vehicles of some sort. They're just, a milk float works, right? Because it goes out for 6 hours, delivers milk, and then it goes back to the depot, and you plug it in, and it stays there for 18 hours, charging up.
Yeah, so we know where they work.
But that's not practical for most people's vehicle use, is it?
Oh, they've improved it now. They've improved it.
Early submarines were electric.
So, anyway, that was our first historian, David. Now, we also have Charles Morse. Now, they tried to give him, just like what they do to us today, discredit this guy. Charles Morse, he owned a couple of banks, a couple of ships, so he knew what was going on. And he says, nowhere in the Bible does God speak of a globe that's whirling and turning with its terrible load. But he did set the sun whirling in its journey to run, make a return whence it had come. And that's
so you're just going with the Bible. It's in the Bible, so that's
he said if all Christians were anxious the truth to obtain and would search in sincerity, 'twould not be in vain. For the deeper they search is sure and plain. They have to believe earth is a straight, level plane. And that's from Charles Morse, another...
Oh, he's a very good poet, is he? He rhymed plain with plain there.
Yeah, but he's another one who understood famously that the earth was a plane. This was going around back in those days. It was a big deal. Okay, no one believed the narrative of the elite, the money men, who were trying to put out this globe, and everyone thought, this is nonsense. This is it's obvious. We can see that the sun goes around. And that's just two people in history, along as with Rowbotham, who clearly understood the earth was flat. So,
forgotten about Hampton.
Hampton. Yes. I mean, we've also got Albert.
He wrote the 100 proofs the earth is not a spinning ball.
Well, I mean, we've got more than that, you see. We've got Albert Smith. And Albert Smith says, his quote, "It yet remains for Copernican school of astronomy to prove that the earth upon which we walk about so complacently, and the country which on a fine day looks so calm and peaceful, is flying through space at a total aggregate speed of something like 86,000 miles per hour. Shall we blindly believe a theory which in the nature of things is so impractical, and a theory which directly contradicts the evidence of our God-given senses? We feel no motion, we see no motion, and we hear no motion. Our senses favour the reasonable and demonstrate facts that the earth is stationary." That's from our good friend Albert Smith. Again, let's take a look at Albert here. Good old Albert.
You are literally preaching to us now.
I'm not. I'm just showing you in history that it wasn't just Rowbotham. It was an abundance of
Not an abundance, a handful of nutcases.
Handful.
And people will be able to
Interesting.
look back.
The most notable thing about this Charles Morse guy, assuming I've got the same one,
Yeah, he was
is that he was a fraudster.
Yeah. I told you that already. I already said that.
What?
I said that he was touted as a criminal. His name was discredited because he owned banks, he owned ships, and he pulled off a little swindle maybe. And they said, "Look, this guy's a flat earther. Let's discredit him any way we can." But
because he's a flat earther, not because of all the other shit he did, right? Kind of.
No. Like I said, all he did was try to swindle the other money men.
Yeah, all he did is try to swindle people.
In those days, it was about making as much money as possible, so, you know.
But they nailed him because he was a flat earther.
Well, I'm just saying there were flat earthers at large in the 1800s, 1900s.
Translation, if somebody from flat earth says just saying, they are just saying lies.
All right. Well,
CB
how many
says that
bad
dude gives off
arguments?
Freemason vibes, bruh.
Probably. I mean, all the Masons knew. They knew the truth.
Right. How many bad arguments based on poor logic are we going to have
I'm
to
just
listen
letting you know that these
to?
arguments are
They're
not
basically
new.
all the same argument
When you
over
say
and
to
over
us,
again.
bring us something new.
Before
No.
it becomes an actual argument worthy of listening to.
No, these arguments have been going around for hundreds of years. The same thing. What they've been asking, we are now asking. The future generations are asking.
And we know better.
We can take, for example, another flat Earth history. This is from William Carpenter. Now he drew a map. He's got a map here, and he says if we examine a true picture of the distant horizon or the thing itself, we shall find it coincides exactly with a perfectly straight and level line. Now, since there could be nothing of the kind on a globe, and we find it to be the case all over the Earth, it is proof that the Earth is not a globe. Now, that's from William Carpenter. Another
the guy who wrote 100 Proofs Earth's Not a Globe or Earth's Not a Spinning
is that him there, yeah?
Yeah, Hampton was the one that did the Bedford level. I got them mixed up.
Okay, so we've got another guy. We're piling up. Now that's 4 individuals who, in the modern world, understood the Earth is not a globe. That's fantastic to hear. So no more talk of just Robotham, because we have
I've never said it's just Robotham. Your claim that everyone was a flat earther up until 1930 is false.
This is
easily demonstrable.
It's not
from many different independent sources.
No, we have another one. This is the short quote from Gilbert Johnson. The Earth is flat. The Bible declares it. That is resting upon 4 pillars. This is from Gilbert.
Literally preaching.
You are literally preaching.
I'm not preaching. This is quoting individuals from history. Quote.
So that doesn't make any difference.
It's sad.
Yeah,
It's sad.
Oh, you don't like it that everyone in the past knew it was flat.
You're quoting people who were preaching.
No.
If only poor Alberoni had known the horizon rises to eye level, he could have saved himself a lot of time that he wasted.
Yeah, Eratosthenes could have just said, "Oh, what the fuck? You can't measure the Earth. The Earth's obviously flat. I mean, what the fuck?"
Too many people. We've got Ebenezer. You can read that one for yourself. He also understood the flat level plane.
The satire. We're relying on satire now.
No. These were all. I remember they were all discredited, just like you do today. Nothing is different from today and in the past. The idea is to discredit as many flat earthers as possible.
Hey, you're right, Kimo. Only nut jobs think that the Earth is flat. Yeah, that's just the same today as it was then.
We don't discredit flat earthers. Flat earthers discredit themselves.
And popular belief is only because they print it in the newspaper. So we've got Thomas Winship, and he says, if the Earth be a globe of popular belief, the same amount of heat and cold, summer and winter, should be experienced at the same latitude, north and south of the equator. The same number of plants and animals would be found. The same general conditions exist. That is the very opposite in this case. This proves the globular assumption. Thomas Winship. Okay?
Does that make sense? I mean, there's different land masses.
That makes perfect sense. There you go. There's another one.
No, wait. There's different land masses north and south of the equator. They're for different conditions.
Well, according to is it Thomas? I've got put up this time. Yeah, according to Thomas, everything would be the same latitudes north and south of the equator.
Which is
if you're a
ridiculous
dumbass
idea.
religious zealot with your head up your ass, looking at only one variable,
too many people.
yeah, you might
Well,
to that conclusion.
Chemo, just consider weather on the same latitude in the northern hemisphere.
Look, I can only go by
How
what
mild
history tells
how
us.
mild the weather is where you are versus straight across the ocean over here at the same latitude. It's freezing cold.
Weren't the English sailing all the way around the Earth by that time? Didn't they know that the Earth was a sphere pretty much by the time I say Captain Cook? Wasn't that a little bit before 1930?
So around the 1930s, 20s, 1910, we have William
1930
Bathgate.
after World War I, where they were fighting in the southern hemisphere.
And William Bathgate says, this is the testimony of all aeronauts. the Earth looks like a huge basin with the edges, therefore, being on a level with the eye, and the bottom of it miles under one's feet. It just goes on to say more. So.
How many more lies do you have to get through?
I'm just saying Jem has said there's only Robotham, and I'm saying there were plenty. Everybody thought the Earth was flat.
There's one.
Everyone thought the Earth was flat back then, not just a couple of people. Okay.
Oh, the English were.
So
I did a bit of research, dug deep. What?
Why do you persist in this behavior and persist in that claim? Jim's already corrected you.
Well,
yet
you know what I got from that. The reason why I did all this search because all I got from it is only Robot. I was trying to say now others. But he's saying he's the famous one, and I'm saying, well, just because he was in the newspapers doesn't mean he was.
Technically, I never really finished talking came out, by the way.
All right, go on. You did ask me a question though. How many more of these? There's just loads, loads of people in the 1900s understood the Earth was flat. Loads.
Go ahead.
Everybody in those days thought it was flat. I can show you loads of people. So more to go.
How many times are you going to repeat that phrase and keep interrupting Curb?
I think it's interesting, though, that this sprung up at the time that it did, in a time, Robotham became famous off the back of the Industrial Revolution. His lectures were mostly in mechanics institutes, which were organizations that were set up to promote technology and technological training. And so I think it's interesting that you got this technological revolution happening, you get this sort of adverse reaction to it from fundy Christians. And I think that is also what is going on today. I think that maybe lies at the heart of it. It's an anti-reaction to a technological revolution.
I mean, look, just because they were Christians doesn't mean they were not men of engineering, science, technology. Like I said, one of them was a banker. He owned several ships, several companies, and he understood that the Earth was flat, not just religious people. He may have been. No,
but every time when Robotham, what he usually did was he would do a lecture and then he would do a debate, often do a debate in the same place. But there was never any shortage of people to debate him. There were always astronomers and, various people who were prepared to take him on. And the public ridiculed him.
No, that's not true. That's not true.
It is.
They're just like today's Antifa, set up to go out there and cause trouble, basically. So it's the same today. It's no different. The agents were back then trying to push the globe narrative, and people were like, what you on about? There's no evidence for this globe. Just like this lady, our good friend, Lady Blount. But people saw it then as they do now. They didn't take it seriously. They saw a guy who was taking the piss out of them, and that's why sometimes the reaction he got was not good. I beg to differ. I mean, again, we've got so many people.
What evidence do you have to say that? Because what I've got are the newspaper reports of his 300 appearances or whatever there were.
Oh, no, I don't mean that. I mean, I'm saying that the people were flat earthers back then. There was a lot of resistance to the globe. Tremendous amounts. Tremendous.
Yeah, well, there's no evidence of that.
I'm posting it now for you.
There's no, but what? But I could do this now, couldn't I? I could post a picture of Mark Sargent and a picture of Jeranism and a picture of Level Earth Observer and a picture of Whitsitt and Nathan Thompson. And say, look how many. Everyone was a flat earther because I've listed 6.
No.
Out of 7 billion.
Don't stop there.
Yeah.
Don't finish there. Well, there were less people back then, weren't there?
Sure.
Yeah, there's only like 50 people back then.
Right. But the point is that there were more religious people back then, and they would have understood exactly what the Bible was telling them. So again, that to me is the public. It's only it's only a recent occurrence when this secularism has occurred, and back then, like I say, they were very religious, and only like I say, the money men, the bankers, were pushing this narrative. No different than today. Then we have more. Oh, we've had him. Did we have him? Yeah, we had him. So there are more.
My father was must have been right on the cusp of that, but he didn't remember anything like that from the 40s. Wasn't even talked about by the 40s.
So E. Middleton
Actually,
says
he's 37 technically, but he's a little young. He was raised.
E. Middleton understood if the sun were to remain stationary, we should very soon be burnt to cinders, as it is. So that's why the sun is not
just like
stationary.
flat earthers today, he apparently provided no reasoning for his bullshit.
The sun is situated 95 million miles. 95? I thought it was 93. What's going on there then? No, this is E. Middleton. They're still trying to figure out the distance to the sun back then. They don't know. And they're still questioning whether the sun is moving.
Yeah, things can't go at different distances.
Or stationary.
This is
E. Middleton. See?
Yeah, I see. Things don't have ranges. They have to be
everybody was questioning this globe lie. Like, what are you on about? How can the sun be still? We see it move. What are you on about? We see this long, level, straight line. Well, what are you on about? They're the same back then as we are today. There's an abundance of and our favourite friend here, Roy Botham. He's I guess you could say the leader.
Everybody loves Robotham, Chemo.
Roy Botham, yeah, here we go.
That's like everybody loves Raymond.
He's like he was like flat Earth Jesus.
So he says the Earth is an enclosed plane centered at the North Pole and bounded along its outward edge by an ice wall, a wall of ice. With the sun, the moon, the planets, and stars only a few hundred miles above.
No, he's your prophet. He's one of your gods, Chemo.
Good old
Do you
Samuel
worship him?
there.
Yeah. Do you pray at night with your head pointed?
We've got quite a collection here now of people who understood.
What year was Robotham again?
Oh, they were just in the early days.
No, just approximately. Yeah, was he like mid 1800s or late 1800s? Which was it?
Yeah, just in the early days.
That's not an answer, but okay.
Yeah. So,
well, let's go. Then I'll just stick with the early days. Okay. Well, since the early days, they still haven't come up with a fucking shred of evidence.
Oh, we've got a good one here. You'll probably find some fault with this one. But this is 1895, March 12th. So he said, this is Professor Joseph W. Holden, 1815 to 1900. The old astronomer who the inscription of his gravestone tells discovered that the Earth is flat and stationary and the sun and moon do move above us.
What you're proving is that we are not the ones that invented stupid people.
So he's got a poster. He's got a poster that says, "The wonders of science will never cease. A man who knows all about it will prove that the world is not round but flat, does not turn on its axis, does not revolve around the sun." Whoa, when is this? When can we go to this? This is great. There's a conference back then. Look at the flyer. This is a conference back then. Flat Earth conference. He's going to prove.
Do they have any evidence? I mean, 100 years, 100 plus years, and they haven't been able to come up with one thing?
Yeah, he's been able to prove to his
the
audience.
Majority of the population lived in this world and could not come up with evidence.
Because and in those days it would have been a versus just like today, but because you know your side has the money, the media, the power, the influence, you can affect more people.
Everybody was a flat earther then, so
yeah, they were.
Then they had all the money.
Well, I think more than it was a question: what is the shape of the Earth?
Right, but they had all the money.
People were not sure, right? Because people were not really that educated.
If the majority of the population had it, then they had all the money. They had the control.
I'd have loved to have gone to this conference, though. Imagine that. Or would I have been able to? Would I have been able to even gone to that conference?
So wouldn't they have had the control and the money, Kima?
Eh?
Didn't they have the control and the money?
Who?
The majority of the population? that were education? Everybody knew it was flat back in the 1800s.
I mean, look, the outside world.
Look, that doesn't sound like an answer.
The outside world knew it was flat, like every other nation outside of Europe, or say England and America. There was no argument about the shape of the Earth.
Right,
And
they have all the money. So where's the evidence?
Well, where's the evidence that they've all got flat Earth
Well,
models?
they should have had a whole bunch of explanations.
We've shown you where flat Earth models
showing how it was flat. Measurements like we have.
No, it's never been measured. It's all been assumed.
Well, they had methods of measuring back then.
No, they didn't.
1700s, they had theodolites and stuff. They were doing measurements back then.
Yeah, but they didn't account for atmospheric lensing.
They were mapping out continents.
They didn't know the horizon wasn't physical. Back then, they didn't have that as an argument.
And it doesn't seem to answer. They had all the money and they had all the people, so they really should have the historical documents should be able to bear it out.
Yeah, documents are hidden, destroyed.
So there's no it's 1700s surveying guide still around.
No,
No, it doesn't exist. I see.
But I can't see for any reason they would have to believe in a globe back then. There would be no reason for somebody growing up to think
all the evidence.
Like what? So if you're just growing up somewhere in a village, why would you think the Earth is a
The
ball?
fact that the one true accurate map is the globe.
No, that's not the reason. No, nobody would have that reason to think that. It was like a crazy
Anybody
notion.
who fucking uses it has a reason to believe it.
No. Like I said, you guys would have been seen as crazy people in the early days. What
are early days?
People that the Earth is moving. People
What are
were like,
early days?
what? What are you on about?
Don't use nebulous terms. What are early days?
Just like today, if you just how have you got to
What
convince?
was the end of the early days? What was
The
last
same way
days
you have
of
to
the early
convince someone
days?
today. You know, it's very difficult. You need a lot of propaganda, and you need
Right.
television.
Today is not nebulous. That's today.
So back then, you didn't have any of that
when is
stuff to
back
do
then?
propaganda.
When is back then? What is the end of then?
Any time before 1900.
Ah, okay. Well, now that seems to be against all evidence, even from that standpoint.
Well, how did they figure it out in 1800?
Surveying, mapping, cartography.
Well, if that were the case, Marconi would never have sent his signal across from England to America. He believed that he could send his signal, no problems, and the bankers...
Kimo, tell me about the Nephilim.
Again, the bankers, silly bankers who wanted to promote the ball, said, no, you're not going to be able to fire. We're not going to invest in you, Marconi, because you cannot fire a signal from England to America. You'll fire it into space. He said,
we tried to talk about this, Kimo, don't you remember? What frequency did he use?
I don't know, but the idea was the bankers told him...
You need to find out, Kimo.
No, I don't. The bankers told him...
Yes, you do.
No,
you
I
need
don't,
to
because
find
the
out what
bankers
frequency,
told him you will
because
not make it.
Propagation is different at different frequencies, Kimo.
Well, how...
It was a
Why
new
do you guys
technology.
think he
Bankers
cares?
aren't exactly the authorities.
Yes,
He's
but they
just
refused to
saying things.
invest because they didn't want people to believe that the Earth was flat. Back then, if you fire a
I had the
laser,
lighter there. I
people
could
will
really
say,
go a
well,
cigarette.
where was the obstruction between America and England?
Oh, radio's not a laser.
I didn't say it was a laser.
It propagates differently.
Not according to the
Kimo, you need to
bankers.
stop smoking. It's bad for you.
Well, who cares what they think? I
Wow.
might listen to them if it was about money. but
Nobody...
this is not
Well,
about
Marconi
money.
didn't care. He went ahead and did it.
Did bankers know about
Depending on
ionospheres?
bankers for the science.
The
What the fuck
bankers
you
were
talking
just
about?
promoting the
They wasn't
propaganda.
bankers anyway, Kimo.
They got
What
their
the hell are you
mathematicians
talking about?
out and said,
You don't even know
well,
what the story is, do you?
mathematicians, work it out. If we suppose the ball is 39.59 and he fires his radar or signal from here,
Did the mathematicians know
Work it
about
out.
what will happen?
Ionosphere, Kimo. Work it out.
Mathematicians were like, well, if he fires it
Kimo,
from here, it's going to have
Kimo,
an
did the
Earth
mathematicians know about the ionosphere, or is that something that was discovered afterwards?
Oh, that's always been known. The firmament's always been
That's
known.
always been there. Please show me a document from 1492 that talks about the ionosphere.
Oh, they've always known about the
Oh, this is too
Bible.
low.
Okay, show me a document.
The
Show me any
Bible.
evidence prior to 1800
The Bible.
that says there's an ionosphere.
Bible. It's the firmament. It's a different name.
Marconi's
It's a
transmitter
different
was too
name.
low frequency for ionosphere.
Just a different name,
propagation.
Mike.
Surface wave propagation. Completely different.
No. Back then, the
is that
mathematicians
low
thought it's
frequency?
not possible.
Yep. It was somewhere in the neighborhood of 300 kilohertz, if I remember right.
Yeah, something like that.
Ah, my bad.
And when you go down to those ranges, you
Anyway,
that stuff will
we're not
propagate
finished
all
there.
the way
We're not
around the
finished
world.
there.
That's
We've
why
got
we use it.
got another one here. We've got Orlando Ferguson. These men are on a globe at the rate of 65,000 miles per hour around the sun. In their minds, he says. Think of that speed. So it's all in your mind. Orlando says. Let's take a look at Orlando here. Guys mocking the globers. Back then they were mocking the globers. And today, globers are being mocked for the same ridiculous idea that the Earth is moving at a vast speed through space. See? So it's not just one, there are many, many.
Dima, nobody said it's just one. It's the one that's used colloquially. There was very few irrelevant people. Like today.
Mm-hmm. They've got a great one here. Another one. This is from John Hampton. He says the surface of water is a level surface. This is the key, which is unlocking the minds of the people and letting in a flood of light upon the question of the shape of the earth. We know, consequently, that the surface of the earth is a plane surface and that the earth itself cannot be a globe. John Hampton, let's give you a look at this guy here. Another one.
Isn't this just going through the laundry list of YouTubers?
More support.
Kimo, how is this different than just talking about the list of YouTubers?
No, because you can see who they are, you can see what they're about, you can research them, you can see it's not just
and
one
how is this
person.
Different than this is the YouTube of its day.
How many people is that now?
I'll give you a fucking 1,000. I don't give a shit.
Right, and the abundance of people laughing, mocking at the globe, saying, how is this possible? It's all in your mind. Same things today as we're telling you, they were telling your grandparents or great-grandparents back then.
Yes,
You're just the children of those people, and we're just telling you the same thing what they told you.
Yes, there were crazy people on the corner with bullhorns. Yes, that's probably existed.
No, these were professors. One of them was an astronomer. They're experts. They held conferences. They have businesses. They have bankers. They have men with ships. They're not just your average Joe who just.
Did you actually verify their credentials?
They're not just your average Joe who walks around with a
sign
sign
out their
and this and that. They're all in suits.
There was an astronomer. Was he an astronomer? Was he an amateur astronomer?
A suit in those days was very expensive.
Oh.
Yeah, you couldn't just go afford to buy a suit. You would have to have something about you. And they're all in suits.
And yet,
they
at
were all
the turn of the
businessmen.
century, everybody wore a suit.
They were all men of the world, men of the day, and they understood where they were. There's just too many.
It's funny, in my family, we have videos going back to the 20s. No, movies going back to the 20s. And people would come to the family picnics in three-piece suit. And they run around and do wheelbarrow races and shit in their suits. It's really kind of interesting to watch.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you did, is you had your suit that you wore.
Right, now you show me people like this who understood it was a globe, knew it was a globe, and the reasons how they knew. You can't do what I've just done. And I haven't even finished. There's still more.
Can you show me the... You haven't done what you just said.
Who have you got? Who have you got that supports the idea of it being a bot? In the 1800s. Where are they? Who are these people? Don't have anyone who's made measurements, who understands.
All surveyors across the world since 17.
These
whatever.
bankers were not surveyors.
All surveyors since the beginning of fucking.
Who financed these surveyors? Where do they get their equipment from? Who paid for all of this?
Surveyors are financed by private industries often.
Yeah, who? Who financed these surveyors?
People who want to have their land marked.
No, we're talking about curvature. Who surveyed? Who paid for the surveyors then? Back then, if you want to do a venture, you need investment. You cannot just get up and go and decide to go and do something. It's got to be for a reason.
I don't know. Was that always government? I mean, there was the
government. The government was focused on it.
There was there was consortiums of people in like England who did a lot of research based on donations and stuff. I can't think of the name of the group, but there's a few philanthropist type endeavors.
Nuh-uh.
Nah. Thank you. Nuh-uh.
Any business ventured had to go through a gangster filter, then through the government, and then if it was worth it, because remember, you couldn't just build anything back then and say, right, I've got a new invention, I want to put this around. They'd be like, well, hold on, does it make money? Does it benefit us? And if it's a no, like Tesla, for example, couldn't just get up and say, right, I want to make free electric and devices. It was like, well, hold on, we're not going to invest in you unless it benefits us. So anyone doing surveying around the world is going to have investment. So who invested in these people? And if it's the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, then you know that it's there to support the narrative.
And you look at Columbus. Columbus had a fucking dream to go and explore the world. And he had to work really hard to get government to finance him.
Yeah, got the Queen, Isabella, said, look.
Right, but he had to work very hard. That was him seeking the Queen.
He was like, we can bring you more gold.
In fact, he had to beg the Queen for the money.
Yes, because he had to convince her. That's what I just told you. You've got to convince them there's more gold, there's more land, more resources. And we can become very, very wealthy if we.
Yeah, that's the sales pitch.
That's why, to make more money. That's the only reason why they invest. Now, how do they make more money by investing?
He was trying to get to old.
How do they make more money by investing in a surveyor?
Wasn't he trying to get to Madagascar?
Well, tell me, how would you make more money by investing in a surveyor? Because back then, it was all about money, baby. And if you weren't making someone else money, then you can just go take a walk off a plank, right? So how do investors decide, all right, I'm going to pay for you, I'm going to spend millions on you to go around and measure the curvature. Okay, then. Well, what am I going to get in return? Nothing.
Landowners pay surveyors to make sure that they owned
now
we're thinking. They could place their claim on the right amount of land.
Now we're thinking.
They wanted true, accurate information so that they could make money from it. Absolutely.
How? Who's making money from this surveying?
The surveyor makes money from surveying, and the landowner makes money from whatever
they're
doing with the land.
Who's paying them? How did the business of surveying even begin back then? Some with a theodolite says, right, here's my theodolite business. And we're going to get paid from who? From how? How?
Landowners that you keep ignoring.
Curvature, we're talking.
And some people own lots of land where that gets significant.
Go on, then.
In order to get accuracy, when you try and get accuracy over large swaths of land, it becomes evident that it's a globe. It just falls out of the data.
Now, I understand you might invest.
The data will be inaccurate unless you allow for curvature.
I understand you might invest in.
Pieces of land won't connect together.
You might invest in like a map for military purposes, but beyond that, why would you invest
for commerce?
Yeah, for a map, just a map.
Yeah,
not for commerce.
You own a farm. The guy next to you owns a farm, and you get into an argument about how much farm each of you owns. He starts building the wall. You say that's too far to the left.
Yeah, they would have just made
That's
a map.
how it starts.
That's all.
And how do you make an accurate map?
Like I said, they would have been for the purpose of the ruler, the leader of the country.
What does that matter?
Because you don't invest in someone to go around the ball and measure it. How on earth?
Well, you're just talking about surveying land.
How on earth is an Englishman gonna be able to travel through India, through China? Oh, excuse me, we're just gonna measure your bit of land. Oh yeah, excuse me, French people, we're gonna measure your bit of land. Oh, excuse me, Red Indians, we're just gonna do a bit of measurements. Who's gonna do that?
What are you talking about?
Measurement
You're babbling on and not really.
He's doing what you need to measure the whole thing to know.
Who's measured the whole thing? Yeah.
Don't need to.
Well,
we know that there's curvature locally, and there's curvature everywhere.
Well, who's measured it locally then? Locally, it's flat.
Surveyors?
Yeah, they measure flat locally.
No.
No?
Well,
Locally
hold on.
meaning in the continental U.S. Locally meaning large swaths of land.
Chemo, even if the Earth were flat, right? It has been mapped out. Are you saying that it hasn't been?
Well, no. According to John Abbey Zaid, he says the Earth is flat and stationary, while the Sun and the Moon are in constant motion. This is the enlightenment of the world. Let's take a look at
it's
John here.
You got a handful of
Not a handful.
of guys.
It's more than a handful now. It's way more than a handful.
It really isn't.
Yes, it is.
See, what you don't realize is that the America, the roads are all made in loops that go. The map doesn't represent reality. Just you could be heading south when you think you're heading north and stuff like that. We have no idea whether these maps are accurate.
So that's another person on in history that understood the Earth was not a globe.
Well, it's not just a matter of not being a globe.
Sickening now, right? It's boring because it's long. That's what the list is long. It's like, oh, not another one. Gosh, how many have you got more, right? Because that's how long the list is. Not just one.
There's no dates on any
or
of these.
two.
What kind of time scale did you have to look through to find these people?
I'm just saying though, so it's like a long list now.
It's about 100 years. That he's probably
That's what it
80
seems
years
like.
that he's talking about.
Sick of this list though. I can feel it. It's like, oh, not another one.
Well, let me go through the list.
Probably 8 people. You've named 8 people in 2 generations.
Not 8. It's more than 8.
All right, 10, 12, whatever.
You seeky girl, I like it. That's what we're talking about.
The
numbers increase.
You might as well start.
Go on.
You might as well start listing off YouTube channels that are from flat earthers.
Right.
That's the equivalent of what you're doing.
No, I'll show you back then.
There are
find a list of 10,000 surveyors.
So half the people don't believe in the moon landings. That means they don't believe in the pictures that were taken. That means they don't believe the Earth is a globe in America.
No, that's actually not true.
Yes, that's true.
Who cares?
You can believe the moon is not real. You can believe the moon. You didn't go to the moon. You can believe that we're a.
So if people don't believe that we went to the moon, they don't believe in the globe pictures.
We can believe lots of things and still have the overarching belief that the Earth is a globe. Just like you could be a Christian and believe it's a globe.
So we've got more. This is from our friend Wilbur Glenn.
I'm going to try and find out how many people believe in fairies.
Now, he says what I say, and I can't believe this is what he says. He says the idea of the sun, the idea of the sun, millions of miles in diameter, 91 now. Well, we've got 93, back to 91, is silly. He says it's silly. Now, I'm always telling you it's silly. These things are silly, and he tells you what I tell you. That the idea...
That's what every flat earther says.
I say it's silly. That's what I say. I say, stop being silly. That's silly. Don't say silly things.
Good old Wilbur said the Earth's flat, and he knows how big the sun is.
Yeah, he said the sun is 32 miles across and not more than 3 miles high from the Earth.
3,000 miles.
3,000 miles. That's our friend Wilbur. Let's take a look at him.
Yeah.
So
he presents the dreaded... what is it? Would you call that a model?
No. He says it's silly. Silly.
No, I didn't say about that. I saw his claims about the flat Earth.
No, your ideas about the sun are silly, is what he says.
Yeah, but he has a better idea.
But back then, they still thought, huh? This is silly. What were they talking about?
Don't ignore that.
All right?
Why are you ignoring?
Do you think it's 3,000 miles high?
I mean,
he does.
I don't know how far the sun is, but he's saying that the idea that it's 90 whatever is silly.
Oh, don't ignore that, Chemo. He says it's 3,000 miles high and 32 miles across.
Yeah, that's not so silly.
Wouldn't that cause problems though for like the other side of the world? Wouldn't the sun look, I don't know, wouldn't it be
visible?
Oblong, like an ellipse? Wouldn't it be oblong, Chemo? Wouldn't it be oblong to someone on the other side of the world? You know what I mean?
No,
I don't think it'd be. I think it'd be an ellipse.
No, because of Walter Bislin's model shows us the light bending, is very peculiar. So no, all of this wouldn't that happen? No, that wouldn't happen because by the atmosphere.
Wait, so you're saying
But that
walls are
model
bigger
doesn't
than
include
those?
how the atmosphere works. That model includes magic.
No, that's what I'm saying. Any observation that looks peculiar to you is because of the way the atmosphere operates.
Oh, how does it operate, Chemo?
Acts like a lens.
Says who?
Does experiments.
What experiment?
The experiment Rob Skeever's conducted and several
That's not
others.
an experiment.
That is an experiment.
Would
Observe phenomena in
what do you
nature,
know?
predict the cause to the effect, and conduct an experiment manipulating your independent variable.
That's not the Fresnel lens is not an independent variable.
That is the variable, the lensing.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is. That's
Because
my
you
variable.
you need to demonstrate that the atmosphere
No, we're
acts like.
demonstrating the effect.
Not really.
Yeah, we get the sun to stay the same size, disappear over a flat
You know,
surface.
that's so weird that I used a Fresnel lens and it didn't do all the things that Rob Skiba did.
You must have done something wrong because it's been repeated many times by different people.
I repeated it many times too. What do you know? Gosh. It couldn't be that Rob was using a specific portion of the lens. Couldn't be that, right?
You can use any lens.
No, a specific portion of the
Use
lens.
a magnifying glass.
Do you understand what that means?
It doesn't matter
Chemo,
what
at
part of the
all?
lens is being used. It acts like that.
You want to bet?
Well, actually, it does.
No, actually, it
Yeah,
doesn't.
you want to bet?
No, it doesn't
How
matter.
much do you want to bet, Chemo, that it matters?
What? Why would it matter?
Why?
Mm-hmm.
The light is being refracted, right?
No, again, we're
not.
replicating the effect we see in nature.
Yeah, is the light being refracted?
It's difficult to say.
It's not really, because it's not a pane of glass, right?
No, there's a lot of water in the atmosphere.
No,
right?
it's a lens, right? It's a lens. So how do lenses work? They refract light, right?
Yeah, so they bend the light,
bend
yeah?
the light. They bend the light, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So at the bottom of any lens, right, where it's the narrowest portion, or in the case of the way the Fresnel lens is constructed, what direction does the light bend?
Oh, it can depend on the temperature.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does. Yeah. Do you have an experiment?
Nope. Just talking about the lens, pay attention to the
light
conversation.
can bend depending on the temperature.
On the lens?
I don't know. My glasses seem to work the same no matter what the weather is.
Well, no, because if you've got more density, it'll have a higher temperature.
No, come on, man. We're talking about.
Does not bend, Chemo.
Yeah. Okay, Brian. If you've ever, Brian, have you ever started a fire with a magnifying glass?
Light does not bend. It gets redirected.
Do you think that's different?
Yes. It doesn't form a curve. It doesn't form a curve. It can only travel in a straight line.
Okay.
Yet it gets redirected by the atmosphere.
Yeah. Do you want to see a bendy light? Is that your problem? Pretty sure I can post one. You want to keep saying that? Do you think that's different? If I redirect a pipe, can I redirect it to the point where it turns around a corner smoothly?
Many redirections, yes, but not bending. Light cannot form a curve.
Yeah, okay. You can keep saying that. Doesn't really change that it does, but okay.
No, it doesn't.
Again,
light travels in a straight line.
You sure about that?
Absolutely positive.
You'd bet your life on it?
It gets redirected by the moisture in the atmosphere.
You want to bet your life on that one too?
I would bet everything on that.
I don't think you bet your life on it.
Light does not bend.
Okay. Too bad I have video showing it.
You Google it, it will show you being redirected.
Redirected is bending, dick face.
No, it is not.
Really?
Light does not and cannot form a curve. Light gets redirected.
And if it gets redirected several times over a gradient into what would appear like a curve, is it bending?
It might appear like a curve. It might appear that way.
All right, then we're happy.
No.
Then we're happy. I don't
Then
care if it
it
goes a
is
straight
not-
line between molecules and then fucking takes
It
a new
is
direction. In the end, it is not where it belongs.
Let's get the terminology right.
I'm sorry, that's not the right terminology. Any more than a spring is redirected steel.
Light cannot bend itself.
That's like saying
Light
steel can't
travels
bend
in a
either.
straight line,
Well,
and
now
it
wait a
gets
minute. Nobody said
our
light bends by itself. It has to bend through a medium. Through a changing medium, I should say.
Redirected by the medium.
Actually, by your definition, steel cannot bend because the distance between molecules, individual molecules, all form straight lines.
Whatever happened to Memaflex?
What do you think about that, Mr. Mabbott? Nothing can bend. Nothing can bend.
I swear they invented something called Memaflex in the early 80s.
Nope,
you know?
nothing can bend. There's no example of any material on Earth bending by Mabbitt's definition. Everything is redirected.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Didn't they make people's glasses out in the 80s and you could like go fuck off? You could tie them into a knot and then you could just let go of them and they'd go back and spring back out to what they were.
All right, Keith, Mabbott, can you express to me one material that can bend? Any material, any object, anything? Using your definition?
Light travels.
All right, that wasn't a question about light. Can you tell me any material that can bend?
I'm not talking about any material.
I know. I'm asking you by your definition. Does the word bend really exist?
Light travels in a straight line
Cool.
until it's
But by your definition, does the word bend have any utility in the world?
It does not bend. It gets
does the word bend have any value?
I'm not talking about steels or anything else. We're talking about light.
I am, and I'm asking you a question. Can you bend steel?
Cannot bend. It travels in a straight line.
Twat. Can you tell me if anything can steel bend?
By the atmosphere. Thank you. I rest my case.
Can steel bend? Oh, you're afraid to answer.
Can he bend your will? Can he bend your patience? Oh my.
Our friend Alex Gleason says you cannot have two hills without a hollow. It is equally true that there cannot be 2 points on a globe without a hill or convexity between. Alex,
well, you can have a camel with two humps for bum.
That's our friend Alex. The quote.
I think we call that cleavage.
No, it'd just be an humdromedary camel because they have two humps.
A dromedary.
So, in summary, it was a common belief that the Earth was flat, stationary, and plane, and we can just see that there was a huge effort when we look at the articles that come with these individuals.
50 people.
There was just an effort. There seemed to be a huge effort to push the globe, to convince people. And, you know, it's like today, in the newspapers, you don't see these type of articles, people questioning, which there should be. There are people today questioning, does the sun move? That is still an age-old question that should still be answered.
I said bring some new material, not the bloody brief history of the flat earth, chemo.
Oh no, I mean, these are going to continue for hundreds or hundreds of years more in the future, the same arguments.
They're all flaming dead.
Same observations until you guys can show definitively that someone's made measurements of curvature, observations of rotation, and of course they didn't have the gas pressure one back then. So we've included that. They didn't have the black swan back then. We've kind of improved. We've improved a little bit with some of the arguments. So the fact that we have improved significantly should help a lot more people understand that they're not on a globe.
Didn't you ever prove once with a really technical geodetic fucking surveying equipment thing that could, I don't know, measure the fucking cat's cock hair of a dead dog, I don't know, and all that thing, you know, and then all of a sudden you worked out that really Earth rotates at 15 degrees an hour and proved that the entire planet was a globe, you know, all in one session, and then you put it out on the internet and then you try and debunk your own video. What was all that about?
And then we have C.S. Ford, and finally have
another mister with a beard from God knows
John
when.
Jasper. And he writes an interesting article for the news.
But all these people are alive anymore, Chemo. They're all ghosts.
But their arguments still live. Yes?
Chemo,
Well,
a lot of those
kind of people that follow them. Sorry to cut you off there, mate. You can go.
A lot of these arguments have been around for... Any time someone says they're on a board, these arguments will pop up. So if it's 2,000 years ago, the question would have been asked 2,000 years ago, how do you know you are on a ball? 2,000 years later, the question's being asked, how do you know you are on a ball? And we're still guessing, we're still assuming. So we're no different from the people 2,000 years ago. Nothing more we can do than they have done. So then I just ask the question.
Each one of those individuals that you cited has claimed that the Earth is flat. It's not a question anymore. The sun, moon are the same exact size. They are 3,000 miles above the Earth and 32 miles in diameter.
Yep. Okay. Problem.
And that it's encapsulated in a dome. So all of them apparently know this. They figured it out.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So that's exactly what it is, correct?
Maybe.
Don't maybe, because they didn't maybe it. They didn't guess.
Were like, yeah, for sure, yeah.
Okay, so they went out and they measured it. They figured it all out, right? They went through all these various tests. So they know 100% that the Earth is flat, stationary, got sun and moon hovering above the Earth, and covered in a dome.
No doubt.
So that's exactly what it is, correct?
That's what, according to them, yeah, absolutely, that's what it is.
Now you got to make either they were right or they were wrong. Which one is it?
Well, at the moment, it looks like they were right. It looks like that, right?
I didn't say looks like.
No, it looks like they're right. There doesn't seem to be any evidence to go against what they were saying.
Are they right?
Well, at the moment, yes, it looks like they're right?
No, don't give me that. That's a dude, the car salesman pitch doesn't work with me.
But I'm saying I can only go by what it looks like. Right. It looks like right now, yes, they are correct. There's nothing to contradict what they say.
Yes or no? Dude, yes or no? Are they right?
At the moment, it looks like that's the way.
No, I didn't ask that, did I? I didn't ask what it looks like.
Well, that's what science and experiments, measurements, life is about. It's looking for improvements, yeah?
Our curve already here, kid.
Once Chemo decides he's not going to answer a question, you're not going to get a
he's never going to answer
out of him. No, of course he's not. That's just Chemo.
Because he can't. He doesn't want to. He doesn't want to actually own anything.
Yeah. No, of course he doesn't. We know that.
Just saying that's what it looks like. It looks like no one's been able to refute these claims.
If you can't be straightforward in this shit, do you think anyone actually cares what you think looks like something, your opinion on it? No, nobody gives a shit.
I was just pointing out that people in the old days also understood the Earth was flat.
Out, they supposedly knew precisely the dimensions of the Earth.
Sure, why not?
So it's either you own it with them or you don't. Either they're right or they're not.
Oh well, like I said, I haven't actually measured it myself.
Don't
So,
tap dance.
but
It doesn't help me. It doesn't help you. It doesn't help anybody else. Stop tap dancing.
Save your breath. You're not going to get an
simply
answer.
saying that
Oh,
so
it's
far
not.
in today's world, we don't seem to have anything to show that they're incorrect.
Oh, really? Do you have anything to show that they are correct? Just curious.
We don't have anything to show that they're incorrect.
That's not how that works, dude.
Yes, we're supposed to show that the Earth is curving, spinning, flying through space. We haven't been able to
No,
do that.
you're actually not. That's the whole thing.
Well,
You're
they
not.
have observations, and I have observations, and that's what it looks like.
You don't have anything.
The horizon
I'm sorry,
line
Kimo.
looks.
You don't have shit.
The horizon line looks flat, level, and stationary. The Egyptians thought this. They have a model. Celtics thought this. They have a model. Navajo
Does
thought
it look
this.
anything like the Earth?
They have
Take
a
your pick,
model.
dude. You want to go through the entire process of
Hindus
each
thought
and every
this.
one of them?
I'm just showing you the people in the past thought this. This was a well-known thing. Everybody thought the Earth was flat.
Okay, so
No,
which
they
one's the right one?
The Norse people thought the Earth was flat.
Hold on, hey, Kimo, I don't need a list. You just tell
I'm
me
just
which one's
showing
the
you
right
that everybody
Yeah, I don't
understood
care.
and knew the
No,
Earth was
I'm
flat.
sorry. Again, show me which one's the right one.
The Mayans knew the Earth was flat.
You know, the interesting thing that all the cultures knew,
You seem to think like 2,000 years everyone knew the Earth was a ball. There's no evidence of that. We've got flat Earth depictions of what they thought they lived on.
You have really? You have artist depictions of something that somebody might have said. I'm just curious, who compiled all of those?
What?
Did I stutter?
I didn't hear what
Did
you
you not
said.
understand it?
I didn't hear.
I think who compiled all the giant meme that you're posting?
Yeah.
Right? Individually?
Yeah.
Who compiled all that? Who
Who
came
put it
up
together?
with all
Who compiled
those?
it? Yeah. I don't know.
Just curious.
I don't know.
You don't
And
know.
why are you
Some dude
posting
on the internet.
screenshots instead of the actual pictures?
I don't know why it's done. So look, this is a starter kit of how you guys became indoctrinated. This is what you need.
You're actually incorrect about everybody thought the Earth was flat, Greek, because the ancient Greeks over 2,000 years ago realised that it actually was a globe.
How did they realise
Yeah,
that?
so did a couple others, but I do want to point
It
out
doesn't
once
matter.
again that it's interesting that all of these flat Earth models had the sun go through the underworld every night.
No, not quite. But anyway, here's your
Yeah,
starter
yeah,
kit.
they absolutely did.
This is what you need to become
just showed-
indoctrinated. You need planetariums, Photoshop.
All right.
You need
whatever.
toys, TV. You need a fisheye lens,
That-
rockets.
You're just
a curriculum. And
Oh
Hollywood.
yeah, Photoshop in 1969 when we landed
and
on
the
the moon. Yeah,
toilets.
okay, yeah, right. Photoshop in 1969. Yeah, okay.
He's reading memes.
No. You had realistic.
I get that all the
hyper-realistic-
time about the moon landings in 1969. Oh yeah, it was photoshopped, it was CGI. Yeah.
No. You had
1969.
You had Walt Disney, and he was able to get the best artists to do hyper-realistic.
That's the best one yet, Walt Disney. Oh wow, it's usually Stan Kubrick. Usually.
No. When it comes to the art, Walt Disney and Von Braun were very good friends.
You're actually downgrading from Stan Kubrick down to Walt Disney now. Okay.
Well, why would a rocket scientist and Walt Disney be hanging around together?
Kimbo, just stick with the usual flat Earth stuff because you don't know anything about this kind of stuff. So
here we go. I got the picture for you.
Just stick with the stuff that you do know about.
I can show you
even
an
though,
image.
even
of
though
that.
it's
What about the high resolution film from like Apollo 16?
I know it's
That's not
apparently
hyper-realism.
it's all cartoon stuff. Apparently,
Like when they're on the rover and they're driving around the moon.
all drawn by
Apollo
Walt Disney.
16.
Chemo, all those supposedly ancient depictions that you were posting, why are they all a bubble?
Why they're a bubble?
Yeah.
This is Von Braun, rocket scientist with Walt Disney.
Don't ignore this, dude. No one gives a shit about
Now they're pretending how they can draw and fool the world into thinking
Oh wow!
that they're going
Walt
into space.
Disney and Von Braun were shown in the same photograph, shaking hands together. Wow, that proves
Yeah,
they
they
didn't land on
work
the
together
moon.
very, very
Obviously.
closely. I know it's painful.
No, it's not painful at all. I'm quite happy with what actually happened.
With cartoons for your reality, yes. You get the best CGI, yeah? The best animation.
CGI 1969.
Maybe anything's possible in Chemo's world.
Yeah,
You know
I know, right? I mean, including Project Gemini and Project Mercury, which was like early '60s, running up to that CGI cartoons. Yeah, okay.
Well, I've just shown you ancient computers,
Yeah.
electric scooters. There's no reason, again, these things were not around before your very understanding.
Yeah.
No reason for it, not at all.
Yeah.
Should be asking questions: why a cartoon person and a rocket?
Why wouldn't they? Why not?
Why not? Yeah.
So they met, right?
Absolutely.
Well, I mean, you know,
why not?
What if you said I met Saddam Hussein? Does that mean I was a supporter of it?
If I was an artist and I drew Saddam's world for it, yeah.
Like so if I met like Saddam Hussein,
Walt Disney drew this image of the moon or a planet. And you guys believe it. That's what Disney was hired for.
If I was photographed with Saddam Hussein, does that make me a dictator as well? Then does it?
If he was a picture with a globe, a drawing of a globe or a moon like this, yeah.
No, hey, Kimo, is there a reason? In all seriousness, you saved that picture so small that we can't read it?
Stick with just the normal Flat Earth stuff.
Zoom it up, zoom it in,
you don't know anything about this.
That doesn't help. It's just too small.
Yeah, and you stick to your animations from Walt Disney.
Okay.
Emo. So here are just 2 of the pictures you chose to crop out a bunch of stuff. That's
so
the
you've got Walt Disney, you've got rocket people working together, and you expect people to believe you're on a ball.
Chemo, don't ignore somebody bringing up some shit you claim.
What was that?
Well,
you know the pictures you posted about all these civilizations models.
Mm-hmm.
Why are they so cropped out? Like especially the Norse one. Look at the one I posted. That's the full one.
Mm-hmm.
Why has it been cropped out to only show the top part?
Well, what are you showing different?
Why don't you look at the picture, Eileen?
And what are you showing different?
It's got stuff on the bottom.
Mm-hmm. The underworld, yeah.
Yeah. Below everything, below the sphere of everything above.
Where's the sphere?
Like, what? Can you not see a sphere on top of that tree?
No, you see a circle with a dome and an underworld.
Okay, so you have selective blindness then?
No, I'm just saying what I see.
Yeah, the ancient cultures understood that, at least from their perspective, the sun went through the underworld every night. You travel far enough and you realize that their underworld is
maybe
just
it does.
Of another
we
part
don't
of
know
the
that yet. We're still in the ancient world today. We have no idea what goes on out there.
Well, no,
what evidence do you have to suggest that the sun doesn't go under the earth?
In North America is the underworld for like the Egyptians and whatnot.
Yeah, but what evidence do you have that the sun doesn't go under the earth?
Well, from a certain perspective,
we are no different than the ancient people back then. We still have no more knowledge than what they had.
Wait, you gotta make up your mind. Saying what evidence do you have that it doesn't do that? Where's your evidence that it does?
I'm just going with what Slack is saying. We don't know if it does or it doesn't.
Well, from a certain perspective, we do know that it does.
We have no idea about the shape of the earth or our reality. No one does. We're the same as those ancient people. Still asking the question.
You listed off. Dude, take your pick. Either they knew or they didn't.
Yeah, they may have known, but how do they know? We don't know how they know.
What do you mean they may have known? So
they may have, they may not. That's how they saw it.
You're going back on this, so none of them are accurate, right?
Well, they thought it was accurate.
That's not what I asked.
Well, like I said, I told you I haven't measured it. I haven't made any measurements.
Come on, man. It's 2020. We're
exactly,
all those
2021 and no one's made any measurements, including me,
including
you.
Dude, obviously somebody's made measurements.
Oh, that's a bit of a wild claim. Who?
You listed off a whole bunch of flat earthers.
Have they made measurements?
Like good old Wilbur, didn't they?
I have no idea.
How else would they conclude that the earth was flat?
I have no idea.
Well, then why were you listing them off as if they meant anything?
Because that's what they believed.
Oh, it's now just a belief. They don't know anymore, right?
Well, how would they know without measuring it?
How do you know they didn't?
I don't know if they did.
So you got to make your mind. Either they're credible or they're not. If they're not credible,
again, you don't have to believe them. I'm just telling you, they believe the Earth was not a globe back then.
Oh, Chemo, it's not about whether or not they believed it was a globe.
Mm-hmm.
It's about the fact that they know it's flat. It's a flat plane.
For them, yeah, they know. How they know, I have no idea.
Oh,
how
so it's
Gleason
now
made that map, I have no idea how he was able to map the entire world like that.
Apparently he did, right?
I don't know how he did it, though.
Does it matter?
Yeah, I'd like to know how he did it.
How does it matter?
So we know that he knows.
Obviously he knows. It exists.
How does he know?
You tell me.
That's what I've just said. We don't know how he knows.
It's a circular argument. He does this.
It is,
Save your breath. He always does circular arguments.
What is his this view of Pluto? What is that significant of? Improving technology?
I'm just saying we're in the same position today as those ancient people. Where does the sun go at night? What is the shape of the Earth? All of these things. We have no answers. None, not one.
Those pictures of Pluto, can you please describe what's significant of this?
I think they're trying to say that's how Pluto changed over the improvement of the quality or something. I guess.
That's kind of reasonable.
Any reason you picked the black and white version instead of the color version of the '96 photo?
Again, it's just what people believe, right?
So there's a color. No, this is what people observed.
People don't know anything. Does anyone have any information about where we live? No, that's the whole point.
Yeah, that's required over my lifetime.
I think what he's asking you, Chemo, is what's your point of posting that? That's what he's asking you.
Oh, just showing that it's making a mockery of planet Pluto, and you've got the actual Pluto character in the moon, in the Pluto thing.
And I think you should actually remove about the 9/11 one, to be honest, because it's got nothing to do with the flat Earth here. You know, people died in that Chemo. Come on, don't be insensitive.
No, I don't know that actually.
It's got absolutely nothing to do with the shape of the Earth, Chemo.
Okay.
Don't be a dick.
You don't have to talk about it. We are talking about the shape of the Earth. Stick to the shape of the Earth.
Because your pareidolia sees Pluto on Pluto, therefore Pluto's on Pluto, right, Chemo?
Well, I didn't actually pick it out. Someone else picked it out, and it does look like it.
You just said it, motherfucker.
Well, show me in the 2018 photo where Pluto is. Show me in the 2018 photo where Pluto is. The dog.
I'll have a look.
Oh, are they saying Pluto in the heart now? It was a heart. Now it's Pluto.
If you draw a little white line around it, you can make it look like a heart, or you can make it look like a dog.
Oh, I see the dog. Okay, I guess this is like looking at clouds. What's the name of that? What's the big
pareidolia?
There we go. Thank you.
Yeah, maybe not, but people are just mocking. Just like 100 years ago,
you
mocking the globe.
said you see Pluto, and I don't. I see a lighter colored area compared to the background.
Maybe.
Has no distinct shape of anything.
Yeah, if I'm in the 2015 photo, if I'm going to try and squint my eyes and stuff, and try and use my pareidolia, I don't see much of anything. I see maybe a heart that's exploding on the right side. Like disintegrating on the right-hand side.
I see a chicken.
Could it be a chicken?
I don't see a chicken.
I see a planet.
If I go super pareidolia, I can see a butterfly.
I see dead people.
All the time.
Something about the claims that that's some kind of a thing being foisted upon the Americas or upon humanity, that's saying that Walt Disney is in charge of this. That's really a stretch, don't you think, Kimo?
Again, I'm just pointing out what people, they key into, and
Right. Do you agree with them? Do you think they're keying into?
It's not that big a deal to me. No, not that big a deal.
Evidence that somebody drew Pluto on a diagram, or do you think
Pluto doesn't even look like that anyway? It's just a light.
Well, 1996 would disagree because that's using light.
Yeah, they're not real. Calm down.
Well, 1996 image is starting to look much more planet-like.
Well, if you use like shitty equipment, like a pair of binoculars or a really cheap camera, yeah, it looks just like a light. But if you actually spend a little fucking money to get some decent equipment, guess what it doesn't look like? It doesn't look like a light. It looks like a fucking planet. That's why we have high-resolution images, because
planets don't exist. Stop being silly. Again, silly.
A light in the sky that has distinct features.
Being silly.
Kimo, have you ever used a telescope?
Go on, and give us a look at a planet.
Nah, dude. Have you ever used a telescope?
Nah, dude. Exactly. Planets.
Nah, dude. He hasn't.
No such thing as a planet. They used to be called wandering stars. Yeah.
I don't care what they used to be called.
I'll show you NASA's version versus reality planets. Now look at this. This is a real planet.
No, focus, blurry thing.
These are real planets versus NASA's animation.
Real planets? What?
None of these things.
Cameras. Focus. It's just overexposed.
No. Look at Uranus.
Yeah, overexposed,
Venus.
out of focus, fucking people who can't use cameras ever.
Look at Mars. You think you're gonna land on that light in the sky? Silly people. Look at Neptune. There's nothing like it in reality.
Let's go look at good amateur photos of Saturn.
Oh yeah.
Kimo.
I've got amateur. I've got Saturn here. Saturn is just a bright light.
Hey, Kimo, real quick.
How does that take him with a pure?
Oh yeah, go on and show us a real image that you've got of a planet.
Kimo, how do you know they're just lights in the sky?
Because they're wandering stars. That's what we label them.
No, I'm sorry. That's what other called them.
Here's an excellent amateur photo of Mars.
No, CGI.
That's a claim.
Mars doesn't look like that.
Citation and evidence, please.
Because I've got the real Mars on the big screen here now.
You just claim CGI evidence.
You don't. That's CGI, Kimo.
Oh yeah, prove it.
Yeah, evidence in the citation of your claim.
Your claim they're planets. Show a real.
No. You just made a positive claim just a moment ago. You just said it's CGI. So evidence and citation, please. You haven't got any. Okay, there you go again. Oh, very funny, Kimo. Ha 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 ha.
Well, this is an amateur photo of Saturn.
Once again, no evidence of any of his claims. Once again.
That's all right. He just produces, CGI photos.
Now, did Big Blue get any good photos? Not Big Blue. Who does
the problem is
it's the amateur astronomer, right?
The problem is when I look through a telescope, I see what the video is returning. I just didn't use a video camera. So if I say, "Oh, I saw the spot on Jupiter," you say I'm lying. And then someone takes a video, and we know how everybody loves video evidence. So video evidence backs up my anecdotal evidence. And Kimo just goes, "Oh no, they just those blurry fuzzy things. That's reality. When you're in focus." That's when it goes. That's when it gets wrong.
So why don't you fire a laser off these planets then?
We have.
No, you prove it. Show us.
Show you what?
Fire a laser at a planet.
I'm not sure about lasers per se, but I know radar.
Oh yeah. So you go on and let's see something fired off a planet. Exactly. You can't fire off something that's just a light in the sky.
Now, what do you mean? This comes into
you. Show me a satellite orbiting the planet. Let's have a look at a satellite.
You want to see the radio waves traveling?
Let's have a look at one of our man-made satellites orbiting a planet.
Do you want the radio waves that are going to a planet? How do I display that? No.
I've upped the stakes. I've upped the stakes.
I'm trying to answer your question. How do I show you in a way that's acceptable to your retarded ass?
Not about him.
You guys are being mean to Chemo. Come on now. If he doesn't have a job, he can't afford a telescope to look at it and verify these things for himself.
Doesn't have a job, can't keep a woman.
What we're looking at is
he can get a better view than his.
Hold on, guys. Hold on.
$80
I don't often come in the defense.
scope off eBay.
You never usually hear me come in the defense of Chemo, but I don't have a job.
No,
But I'm not a flat earther.
Yeah, but he actually has no job, and you are hoping to make yourself a gainful part of society.
Chemo with a telescope.
So what we're looking at is that all of the images from NASA are CGI. The planets do not exist.
All the images from you are CGI.
And we're looking for evidence.
I didn't give you any images from NASA. I gave you all from amateurs.
Yeah, where's the backup to that claim? Come on now.
Well, ancient history tells us they're just wandering stars.
No, the backup for your claim.
Ancient history has nothing to do or say with what we know now with modern technology.
Look at what Flamingo has just posted.
And it has nothing to do with your own claim. Your own claim is all images from NASA are CGI. So now you have to cite that claim.
Well, Flamingo's just posted a real video, and that's not CGI. That's just a light in the sky.
But that doesn't prove your claim that you just made, though, Chemo, is it?
He's just backed up my claim by showing a light in the sky.
No, but that still doesn't prove your claim, though, does it, Chemo?
You said all images from NASA. All images. Not just one or two.
Every single one.
So you're going to have to prove that they're all CGI. Each and every single one of them, you're going to have to prove.
Then provide an image and I'll show you.
No. It's up to you.
Every single NASA footage and image is fake.
Okay. So there's another positive claim again. So where's your evidence and your citation of this, please? Go ahead.
Science.
Okay, go ahead. So provide your evidence. I want a video. I want some demonstrations. I want some images. I'd like to see a video of you doing this. So provide all that, please. That's what you claim. So go ahead, please. Go ahead, provide your evidence.
On all the images, every single one.
It's already been done.
Every single one, Chemo.
Yeah, it's already been done.
Okay, you don't have any evidence.
Here is Saturn. Here is how Saturn really looks like.
It's fine, Chemo. You can admit that you're wrong.
There you go. Just a light. Here is Neptune.
Since you just didn't,
another light.
Hey, Chemo, since you just didn't watch Flamingo's video, it doesn't back up your claim. It doesn't show just a light in the sky. No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
You didn't fucking watch it.
And
it's only 10 seconds long, and guess what? It clearly shows the planet with Saturn's rings very clearly visible.
Mm-hmm. Just a light, yeah.
So you're just making shit up, and guess what?
I'm posting you real images.
These images that you're putting. These images that you're putting on here are CGI, Chemo.
Why is that a spoiler? Anyway, that's the real image of Mars.
Chemo. Yeah, CGI.
And that image of Mars, you cannot land on that surface of Mars.
Those images taken of Mars are basically taken with something like a P900, where the sensor at the back is.
It doesn't matter what you take.
It's camera in the world, isn't it? Right.
I don't care what they say it is. It's CGI.
It doesn't matter what you
just
take
as easily as
camera.
can.
It doesn't matter what you take it with. It will always show as a light. Your telescope, camera, whatever.
So how big are these lights then?
Oh, I haven't measured them, so don't ask me silliness.
Okay, so it only matters if you measure them, right?
Pardon?
It only matters if you do it, correct?
Not particularly, no. I mean, we can have others do something as long as it's all uncut.
As long as it agrees with his bias.
As long as it's not
Make
cut.
up your mind, man.
Like, for example, when
BioDuel,
BioDuel did an experiment, but he did it sneakily, surreptitiously, and he wouldn't follow the full protocol.
Oh, okay. That you gave after the fact.
No, I said to him while he was doing it.
Yeah, just Yeah,
Stop
after
tap dancing,
the
dude.
that's called after the fact. When you agree
Yeah.
upon something, a set of parameters that you're
And
going
then
to
you-
follow, and you introduce something else.
No, I never.
During
You've got to put the
that's called
camera.
after the fact.
No, you've got to
It's
show the
shifting the
mass.
goalpost.
No, you have to show the mass attractiveness.
Yeah, okay, whatever, man. You're just shifting the goalpost. But hey, that doesn't matter. I asked you a simple question. Are you the person who has to be the one to do all the things in order for them to be true? Yes or no?
Nuh-uh.
No.
Okay,
cool.
As long as it agrees with his bias, it's good.
Other
So
people
then-
can do stuff, not just me.
Okay. Does that make it true, or is it you just
It improves the percentage of you believe in it.
okay? So in other words, you don't really. In other words, you follow the whole zetetic science bullshit. You actually have
you've got to
to
see it to believe it, Bearded. You've got to see it to believe it.
Okay, so in other words, you're just saying that you don't believe anything that anyone else has done.
Because we haven't seen anything. We've just heard about it. Stories. Legends.
You've heard that says literally everything except for every single thing you have done yourself.
So we hear about people that have made measurements, people that have been to space, people that have been around the ball,
Dude,
people in the North South Pole.
dude, I'm not just talking about this shit. This is every fucking thing.
What?
What do you mean what?
What?
It's literally everything. Anything you have not done yourself, experienced yourself, cannot functionally exist in your own paradigm.
Well, I mean,
Don't
you just have
no, you can't.
Well,
you'd have a justified
Don't
belief.
tap dance. That's all it is you can't
A
actually
justified
say
belief, dude.
no, it's not. You can't call it a belief either. You can't call it justified belief because you don't have any justification for it.
Usually, not always, but when a lot of people have the same understanding, you usually go along with it. Not always, but sometimes. It depends on what it is.
No, you can't cherry pick.
You can
this.
pick and choose, yeah, because that's what it is.
No, it isn't.
Because not everyone believes the same thing all the time, right? But usually, if
this isn't about belief, that's the whole thing. Is you can't actually hold the position of having any belief whatsoever.
Well,
no.
I believe in the creator, right?
Yeah, you can't even do that.
Why?
Because by your own standards, you have to actually do it or experience it. Not
yeah. I feel like I've experienced the creator. Yeah,
no, not through somebody else's words, not through somebody else's beliefs.
No, me. I've experienced the power of the Most High. Yes.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I know. That's
and you
me.
Wouldn't have any baseline for that determination either way.
Oh, I forgot you're the devil. You don't like this. Yes.
Well, what's that through scientific experiment?
Timo, how can we
the atheists.
Because all of these require testing. How can we scientifically test that you experienced the Most High?
Oh gosh, I knew this would start this. I wasn't trying to get into this. I was just saying. He's saying, you can't believe anything?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah, I can." But knowing, you'd have to have an experiment to know for sure.
So how do you know?
I've just told it's a belief. I believe faith.
And what experiments have you done, Kimo?
it's
not about me.
I've done plenty of experiments.
You haven't done any experiments.
So you don't know.
The demons, yes. Exactly. But I mean, unless you do science, it's just. Well, I mean, again, you can know things in the world, yes, as we get told.
Okay, so
but we're talking about
you can know,
when
so
we say it
how
like
do you know
this.
that you did?
When we say it like this, we mean the natural and physical world. So things
There
in
you
nature.
go again.
Things in nature, you can't just guess. Well, you can guess, but it doesn't mean you know the answer, right? You've got to do an experiment, right?
Well, we are all part of nature, so and everything within the universe is part of nature.
Not quite, because we're slightly different because we appreciate music and art. We put value on things that have no value. Like people will just pay. I saw Kanye West's daughter put painting, she'd put hands on a piece of paper, and then that cost thousands of pounds or dollars because somebody thought that piece of art was fantastic and wonderful. Now, animals don't do that. An animal won't look at a painting and say, yes, I like that. Let me give you some
How do you know that? Yeah. I was going to say, Chemo, how do you know that animals don't do any of that?
Because they're wild. They're wild.
I'm sorry, but that doesn't answer my question. Saying they're wild just gives them a disposition.
Because I've seen more than enough David Attenborough programs to know that doesn't happen.
What?
I've seen more than enough David Attenborough shows to know that doesn't happen.
But how do you account for like bowerbirds then?
Who?
The bowerbird.
Right.
Is that in David Attenborough?
Yep.
Tell me about it then. I'll give you.
Well, what they do is they build these nests where they select items of a particular color and they create these displays of colored items that are clearly artistic in nature. I would.
But go on. No. Again, that's to attract the mate. That's just that's just nature.
Yeah, that doesn't make it not artistic.
No, because a lion won't look at that and say, oh yeah, nice nest you've got there.
How do you fucking know?
Because
the
it's
bird,
not lion art, is it? It's bird art.
No. Bad comparison. Because the bird knows who this is intended for. Okay?
That's what he...
Now, when I do a painting, anyone can find that.
No, you can't.
Any bird can find that attractive,
and put a value.
You have no fucking basis on that other than trying to separate. But we do know animals do appreciate music. There's been many videos.
And they don't know it's music.
Whether you want to accept it.
They don't know it's music.
How do you know that? I keep asking you, when you make claims, I'm asking you, how do you fucking know that?
Because their brains are not big enough, they're not functional enough to understand these things, duh.
How do you know?
Because we've studied animals.
Who did?
You studied animals.
You didn't.
Have you studied animals?
I've watched more than enough David Attenborough, I've told you.
So no, you haven't.
So no,
David knows what's going on, Mr. Attenborough there. So we don't see anything.
So you're taking the mainstream media position from David Attenborough. Is that what you're telling me?
Just animals. Just animals, no big deal.
That's just like
you're an animal, no big deal.
No. That's what I mean. We are separate.
Yeah.
Because we find things like that appreciative. We appreciate those things. Whereas an animal doesn't. Let's say you've got this elephant painting a picture. Look, this elephant's painting a picture, right? Now the family of elephants won't say, "Oh, well done. Look at what you've done. You've painted an elephant."
How do you know?
You know, let's go and show the other tribes what you've done.
No,
that doesn't happen.
He doesn't.
How do you know?
Some humans do that also. They say, "Wow, you painted a picture of a flower." Oh,
just
wow.
talk to the animals.
And that's my point: is that we are some kind of.
No,
I wouldn't say supernatural, but we're not like, nature like that.
Oh, I'm sorry, but have you, even by your own accounts, if you go by the Bible, humans are very supernatural.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Probably, yeah. So we're not just...
No, not probably. It's not you, dude. You can't just go probably, maybe, kinda, and be all wishy-washy.
Sorta.
Nah, not even. It's supposed to be. We're literally supposed to be dust and magic.
Right. So that's what I mean. Yeah. So anytime man does something, it's man-made, right? It's man-made. So we're talking about like if you saw a man do something in nature, it wouldn't be questionable. But if you saw him fly, then you'd be like, well, how did that happen? Then you would try and figure out what's going on.
It's like saying a nest is artificial, but yeah, you're saying that human beings are separate from all the other animals because we're supernatural. We're dust.
I wouldn't
and
say that. I mean, I wouldn't put it as strongly as that, but we're not like the animals, which is just nature.
So too. Again, you're just you're not changing what I'm saying.
Because they've tried to, they've looked at how animals are and how human behavior is. We know these things.
And we see a lot of parallels between human behavior.
Yeah, we see a lot of similarities, but we see one huge, distinct difference. And what I've just outlined. Art.
What was that?
You said, but we know that animals create art. We know that animals
no. Appreciating
you make
art.
claims about that you didn't back up, Chemo. That's what you did.
Yeah, appreciating
You didn't
art.
outline a fucking thing.
Yeah.
And again, the question still remains: how do you know?
Because
and you failed
we
to
have
answer that.
studied animals.
You haven't studied a fucking thing.
We have.
And again,
Humans
how
have.
do
Mankind
you
has.
know?
Just accept.
All you have is stories of that.
No, I don't know where you guys have been living if you haven't seen that we've studied animals.
And even if one elephant can do it, some people do art that nobody appreciates. So
no, somebody somewhere will appreciate that art.
I don't know.
Always, even if it's like the most worst piece. Like I just said, Kanye's West daughter put her hand painting on a piece of paper, and now it's worth thousands.
That's not hard.
That's not hard to do.
And I just got the joke. She's called North, and her second name's West. Northwest.
Well, then by that standard, a paw print found in permafrost, from a million years ago, is worth millions. So dogs make art worth millions.
Yeah, but would a dog give up their food to buy that painting? No.
I know people who won't give up their food.
Oh yes, people would give up their last rent.
I know people who would not give up their food for that.
Kimo, are you suggesting that animals can't understand the concept of currency? Because
But I'm saying, would they give up their food for art?
Maybe if they use it as some kind of currency, because we know that.
So you think you can get an ape or a monkey to give up food because they want to have the art instead? So the principle would be they're going to work for a week. So the animal knows it's going to work for a week, earn a living, earn a wage, and then he's going to use that money, which he has to buy food with, and spend some of it or half of it or all of it on art.
Minor birds are collectors, and they might actually do that. I don't know. I'll have to think about that.
That's why we're different from the animals.
Oh, because we work for a week before we get our wages instead of.
Do animals go on road trips just because to appreciate the scenery? No, you don't see a bear. Oh, I'm just going on the road trip because I know where I'm going.
You don't know. You don't know. Why do animals roam?
So then, why aren't kangaroos trying to swim across the ocean?
No, that must have been what happened.
I thought that's how evolution works. So one kangaroo jumps in, he fails, and then he has a baby that can swim, and then he evolves with.
I don't know. When I see a wolf standing on top of a vista, looking over the vista, not seeing any particular animals from up there, I don't know what he's thinking. What's he thinking, Kimo?
Looking for food. Looking for shelter.
He's on a vista too far away from anything to see.
He's looking for his instincts. Probably escaping from another animal.
Kimo, do animals dream?
Yes. I heard something about that. Dogs or cats dream.
Why?
Meanwhile, they got a brain.
What does having a brain have anything to do with dreaming?
Well, that's where your dreams happen, right?
It's all imaginary.
Are they, though?
I don't know.
You seem very...
Who knows? You're just asking random questions like, do animals dream? I'm like, I don't know, yeah, mate. But I did hear about it that they do, but I don't know how they know that, right? But I heard about dogs or cats, they can dream.
Like a fucking idiot.
Who knows? So what they're doing is dreaming about, they're dreaming about chasing cats, they're dreaming about eating their meal, they're dreaming about chasing the ball, they're dreaming about the river they were just swimming in, you know, they're dreaming about the latest stick that they just caught, you know, they're dreaming about the next toy that their master will bring, dreaming about, you know, the next dinner they might have, You know, the next.
You know,
some of the dogs might be like
what,
trick dogs, and they're thinking, "Oh, I've been made to perform. Sit down, stand up, over and over again. I've been made to perform circling over and over again." He's having nightmares because he has to do.
You know what animals are thinking, but you can't figure out the shape of the earth. That's good.
No, I'm just saying they might. If it's a circus dog, he's got to think, "Oh, I've got to jump through fire tomorrow." My gosh, you know.
But you know what he's thinking.
I've got to jump off this really high, seesaw tomorrow. Goodness me, nightmares, right? So it just depends on what that dog's environment. If it's a husky, he's thinking, "Gosh, I've got to pull the master miles tomorrow." Ugh.
So you're saying that these
My
animals
God, you're just so boring when you're.
So again, we're very different to the animals, basically, in a nutshell.
So this is the pointless chit chat channel, is it, Chemo?